Hey everybody, this is Joe McCall, and want to say hi. I am super excited about my guest that I have on this call. You have heard me talk about for a long time, Claude Diamond. I called him the grandfather of lease purchasing, but I quickly realized he's
Am
not
I
the.
that old?
No,
That
no.
many wrinkles
He's
here?
he's the father of lease purchasing. He's been in this business for 20 something years. He's got a Juris Doctorate. He's a lawyer. He's an investor. He coaches students from all over the country. Some of my coaches and mentors were coached and mentored by Claude Diamond. And so you've heard me talk for a long time about his guts sales method. Since I bought the book and started implementing it in my business, I've seen a big impact and change in the conversions that I have when I'm talking to sellers. The whole concept of firing your sellers, it's okay to fire your sellers, and how to pre-screen your sellers and how to use the 3 5 minute hourglass. All that stuff comes from there.
This is my watch. I
Yes.
have it attached to my wrist here,
So
but
hi,
it's only good for 3 minutes at a time.
how you doing, Claude?
I'm doing great, Joe. Thank you. How nice of you to invite me here. Except for calling me old or your
No, I didn't.
grandfather or something like that.
You
I'm
you.
only old. I'm only old enough to be your father, not your
No, I
grandfather.
didn't mean that.
But how nice! Thank you. Seriously, thank you for inviting me here. It's a pleasure to speak to you and your listeners. And we're going to talk about one of my favorite subjects today:
Yeah,
sales.
it's all about sales.
It is all sales is the $1 million skill. And I know we all love real estate, and you and I particularly love lease purchasing,
Hmm.
controlling real estate rather than letting it control us.
Hmm.
And here's something I discovered. I've been, in this business for 26 years, greatest business in the world. I love when you say that on your audio listen-in calls.
Oh yeah, yeah.
By the way, I love those calls. I listen to your calls, by the way.
You do.
I love a guy who's saying, "Hey, wait, I got to take a break because I'm dropping off my kids to dance class or taekwondo or whatever." I love that. That's so real and it's so honest.
Yeah.
Ron LeGrand, eat your heart out.
Oh, there you go. There
No,
you go.
I love the honesty, and it comes right through in your on your audio recordings.
Thanks.
But sales is, I've been teaching this a long time, and what I've discovered is I always ask myself the question: why do so many people fail in this wonderful business when people like you and I have succeeded? And I've had people who I've mentored, and I do the one-on-one mentoring, and they're very intelligent, they're very well-meaning, they're very motivated, and they go out there and they still fail, and that bothers me. It bothered me a lot, and I thought, what am I doing different
Hmm.
that they're not doing?
Right.
And we were not concentrating enough on sales, marketing, and negotiation. And you could be the smartest guy in the world, Joe.
Yeah.
You can know all about real estate and lease purchasing and subject tos and short sales and all this great stuff in our business. But if you don't know how to give good phone, you're doomed to fail.
Yeah.
My hand on the Bible here. You've got to be superb.
Good
Got to
phone.
have that phone, baby.
The,
That's it. Have
yeah,
that. What is that? An iPhone?
yeah, yeah. The newest
You
one.
know, you've gotta be superb,
Yeah.
not good, not adequate.
Hmm.
You've got to be great. And people to this day, I'm still seeing that they're working very hard and they're buying a lot of gimmicks and a lot of stuff and they're getting leads, but they're not working the leads. They're not qualifying people. And I'm guilty of this too. I remember with my mentor, Max, who I've written about in a couple of my books, I went down from New Jersey down to Delaware, 4.5, 5 hour drive to look at a property.
Oh,
And I got down there and I looked at the property and they were nice people and they said they'd think about it. They'd get back to me, call
yeah,
them next week.
yeah,
Well, another 5 hour long drive back home.
yeah.
And then I couldn't get them on the phone. I kept leaving voicemails. I was chasing them. Finally, about 6, 7 days later, they called back to me. Oh, we don't want to do this. And I got real mad.
Yeah.
I said, my God, I got 10 hours of driving and looking at the property and everything went groovy. What happened? And Max said to me, it's not their fault, it's your fault. And I said, what do you mean my fault? He said, you didn't have the guts to ask the tough questions up front on the phone.
Right.
And I'm not saying that we need to be pushy salesmen or heavy-handed or try to be manipulative, but I think we have certain rights in the sales process. We have the right to ask certain questions to qualify that prospect, make sure, do they have a need? Do they have the money or the house to satisfy that need?
Mm-hmm.
And do they have the character to give us a tentative or some kind of commitment? So we're not wasting their time, and we're sure not wasting our time, because our intention is to go to the bank all the time.
Right.
And the guys, the reason my business makes it, and we've been really blessed. I have a great business. I work at home. I work in San Diego and in Winter Park, Colorado, and Hawaii. And I work from home, and I work with my lovely girlfriend of 25 years. I guess we're going to have to get married, right? No, we are married. And, I work from home with the kids and all that. And the thing that made it work for me is working. I work very hard. We all work hard. There's no such thing as, somebody wrote a book recently, the 4-hour work week or something like that. That's garbage. You work hard in this business, but it's worth it. Yeah. You're rewarded. You pay your bills. You have savings. You live like a human being. But you got to work very smart too, Joe.
Oh, yeah.
And Guts is a system that I developed from what I learned from my mentor Mac. A system, a way of qualifying and working so smart that we're eliminating people who are not ready to do business, don't have the house, don't have the money to get into the house, the investor who doesn't have the money to do the deal with you today. You're eliminating the wheat from the chaff. You're getting rid of that 75% of the people who are not ready to do business with you today, because Guts is about going to the bank today. Yeah. I am in business to make money today.
You know what? You've written a lot of courses on lease purchasing, and your best course, you've come out with 5 or 6 courses, Claude, but I think in my opinion, I think your course on gut sales is the best that you've done. And what you were just saying reminded me. One of my students was struggling with phone calls, talking to too many sellers, spending too much time on the phone, getting real frustrated. And sometimes the sellers would say, "Yeah, I'm interested," but just to get him off the phone. And he wasn't pre-qualifying. But I started talking to him about this, and one of the things he did for him that helped him the most is mentally. He started telling himself, "You know what? I'm going to act like I'm in a hurry when I'm on the phone." And there almost became a thing where for him it was a change of almost borderline impatience, but very polite, but just so he could help get through it faster. And sure enough, when he had that change and realized that this is something that I need to become better at, he started closing deals, and he's done several of them now to date. But I just wanted to say you're right on in absolutely what you're saying.
Well, the thing is, people, I don't want to sell people. I don't want them to do something or buy something that they don't want. I don't want to hey, the price goes up on Friday, and if you buy right now, we'll throw in the bamboo steamer, and the cozy blanket. It's silly. What I want to do is work with people who have an actual need. People have problems in our business. They need to get into homes, which is harder to do now. They want to get out of homes, which is harder to do now. They want to invest in homes, which can be difficult sometimes. Or they're professionals. I work with those 4 entities: professionals, investors, buyers, and sellers. I'm a KISS method guy all the way. And I just want to speak to people openly and honestly. And what most people do in this business is they get so excited and motivated about whatever basic strategy they're working on. Ours is lease purchasing, because we're of higher intelligence, of course. But the thing is, when you get on the phone, let me tell you, Mr. Prospect, all about lease purchasing. It's the best thing since sliced English muffins. And they're going, "Oh man, all I want to know is, can I get it by October? And can I get it under $1,000 a month?" They don't want to hear the presentation. Mm-hmm. Or you might get a guy on the phone who has 0 money but wants you to give him the house. That's a waste of time. So what I do basically is we qualify people. We have a 3-step system. 3 steps, like a staircase. And the first step is agenda. The second step is qualification. And the third step is commitment close. Okay? And then we have these little baby steps. Like in the agenda, my system is based on being honest and upfront and getting the prospect to say no if they don't qualify. It's my strategy or intent is to make sure I'm working smart. I'm working with somebody who wants what I'm selling, the solution to their problem, their need, their greed, whatever they're trying to do in real estate. The beauty of our business is real estate is a commodity. People have problems with this commodity. Yep. If we can offer them reasonable solutions and get a commitment up front, We can make so much money in this business. And that's the beauty of having an actual sales system. You're working smarter than your competition. I never go to a property, Joe, unless I'm going to pick up a contract or a check.
Yeah.
Okay? I mean it, word of honor. And because I've done that too many times where the person didn't show up, they were late. They said, gee, Claude, great property. My wife and I would love it, but we don't have two nickels to rub together right now. I mean, you can't keep doing that and A, pay your bills, make a living, and B, stay motivated. How do you stay excited in this business if you're chasing your own tail all day long?
Yeah.
You know, there's people there who don't volunteer information or kind of mislead you sometimes. I know you're shocked at this.
No.
So we have these 3 steps, and we teach people agenda, qualification, and close. Do you want me to break them down real fast, or am I talking too much?
Give me great, and give us some examples, maybe of some conversations with sellers.
Okay.
And some of the questions you ask.
By the way, you haven't said anything about my garb. I'm in San Diego here. It is 72 degrees here by the beach.
Yeah.
It is, aloha, dude.
Yeah. Let's move on.
Where are you again?
St.
In
Louis.
Missouri. But you're in the banana belt in Missouri. It's warmer there.
No, today is not bad. It's 50 degrees.
50, a heat wave.
Well.
You can do tractor races.
Just got back from Orlando last weekend. It was gorgeous. And then I used to live in San Diego. I used to live in El Cajon.
You're kidding. And you left.
And I'm going there in late March. Mid-April. I'm going there mid-April. Are you going to be there still?
No, I'm going back to Colorado because my ski pass expires April 21st because we live also in Winter Park, Colorado, 10,000 feet up.
Nice.
And we want to do a little spring skiing. And then we're going to we have a little place up in Hawaii and probably go back there. And, the greatest thing about this business, and I'm not trying to
talk
like
about
a big shot here.
Talk about it, yeah.
I can make a living. Mm-hmm. I'm a horrible employee. Mm-hmm. But I love being an entrepreneur. I love working from my home. You and I were talking and joking before. Working from home means better coffee and cleaner bathrooms. Yeah. Okay? I mean, it's wonderful.
Yeah.
And I've had kids too. And when my kids were small, sometimes you'd be on the phone with a client and you'd have to go run to the bathroom to help them, Oh, yeah. I remember once my little one, David, he was a real little guy, and he said, I'm on the phone with a client doing a deal, and he says, could somebody help me? Could somebody wipe my butt? I know it didn't never happen to you, Joe.
Not yet. Not yet.
And so the client says, Claude, let's finish this deal. And I said, I can't. I got to get off the phone. He says, what do you mean? This is an important deal. And I said, I'm sorry, Mr. Client, but sometimes you get a little behind in your work. I'm sorry. The Claude and Joe comedy hour.
Yeah.
I have a lot of fun in this business. I love working from home. My wife and I have security. Our bills are paid. We are debt free. Our mortgages are paid for. We worked very hard at this business. We worked as a team, but it's paid off for us because we approach people. We work smart, and we approach this business as problem solvers. Mm-hmm. And that's the key to this business. If you're just going out there and just giving presentations, hey, let me tell you about lease purchasing or short sales or this or that, you're going to get a lot of clicks and a lot of frustration. And I don't know anybody who can take that much rejection. Yeah. How do you feel about it?
Well, I don't like it.
Yeah. I'm sensitive.
I don't like spending 30 minutes on the phone with a seller only to find out they're not interested,
Or no money or the famous, I have to talk to my spouse.
Yeah.
And I go, hey, I just talked to my spouse. She said it's okay to sell you, so find out if it's okay to buy. Sorry, I'll stop. The thing is, we need a system of selling and marketing where we do something we teach in my package called GUTS, virtual attraction marketing. This is where we do a marketing where people come into our world.
That's right.
Okay, where we put it out there in all the different social media and YouTube and blogs and all this stuff, and people come into our world. They call us up. Yeah. And man, that's fun when the prospects are calling you because you've qualified them a little rather than doing the cold calling thing. The 3 steps in my system: agenda, qualification, commitment, close. Agenda is basically where we set the premise for how we're going to do business. Hey, Mr. Prospect, Glad we're talking today. Do you mind if I ask you a few questions up front to see how we can do business today? Because that's how I make a living. And if we can do business, great. And I want you to feel so comfortable that if this isn't right for you, the deal or whatever I propose, it's okay to say no. You don't have to say, I'll think about it, I'll get back to you. You can say no and we're still friends. Is that all right with you, sir?
Yes.
And so, boom. We've kind of drawn a roadmap. We got permission to ask questions. We told the prospect that it's okay to say no to us up front, not to say I'll think about it and everything. You know, you're setting this up front as being, I think, you're gaining something real important in sales, and that's the big T word. That's trust.
Yeah.
People like to talk about rapport and bonding. I think that's crap. You know, talking about baseball and football, it's nice. It's okay, and we all like to be friendly in business. I'd rather have trust. Because if I have trust, then that person is easier. We can do business and to have a real open discussion, open dialogue. The second step, you know, is, so that's step number one. Step number two is qualification. We need to ask questions rather than give a presentation. Forget about the presentations, folks. Ask questions. And the questions I ask are about, what are you looking for? What are you trying to do? What have you done before that worked or didn't work? Why are we talking today, Mr. Prospect? Tell me what your expectations are from me. What would you like to see me do for you today? Do you have the money to do what we're talking about? Do you have a budget set aside? Are you the decision maker? Do you work with a spouse or a partner or somebody like that? What's your time frame for getting this done? And man, these are the question, the $1 million question. And so if they don't have the money and you find this out in the first couple minutes, I have my famous 3-minute timer here, you know, which all my students have. Because in 3 minutes, I want to know or have at least an idea or suspicion whether I've got a tire kicker here or I've got a serious prospect. You know, you've got all this energy and you want to devote it to the right prospect at the right time.
Yeah.
So now I know what they want to do, whether they're a buyer, seller, investor, whatever. And if, frankly, you said it earlier, if they don't have the money, they don't have the authority, they don't have the character to make a commitment, they want to do this in 2028, I'm going to say, hey, Mr. Prospect, why don't we talk at another time? I'm going to politely fire the prospect.
Yeah.
I'm going to get off the phone because I have enough people to speak to.
Yeah.
And I keep myself very busy. And if I concentrate on that 25%, let's say, that are ready, that have a problem and are looking for a practical solution with someone they feel who is like a doctor or a lawyer to them, a professional, man, I can do a lot of deals and make a lot of money, do a lot of business.
Yeah.
The final step is the commitment close. And I just say, basically, Mr. Prospect, you're trying to sell your house. I think with lease purchasing, we can solve that problem. I think I have some really good ideas. I might be able to network you with some investors, or I might be able to consult with you, or I might want to do the deal myself with you. So if we can make something work that satisfies your needs in the next 30 days, can you and I make a commitment to go forward and do business today?
Great.
Then you just listen.
Yeah.
And you know what? He decides at that point, does he want to buy or not? And I don't sell people. I make them want to buy.
And you make them answer the question the way you want them to answer it.
Well, that's an interesting point. I don't know if we have the time. How much time do we have for this today?
Oh, another 10, 15 minutes. It's up to you.
I've got a 5-hour seminar. In fact, I got a seminar up in San Francisco pretty soon up there with Michael Morangello. And one of the things I'm going to talk about is the psychology of selling.
I wish I could be there.
Oh, whew. And this is something I also learned from Max. Max was my mentor, Max. This is what impressed me, because I went to a lot of seminars, read a lot of books like all of us do. And I used to see this guy get on the phone and close deals in one phone call. Yeah. He would make more money in one phone call than I did in my corporate job, working for a whole year, with the suit and the tie and the commuting and spilling coffee between your legs when you stop short and all that stuff. And I never saw anyone sell like this before. Uh-huh. And he never sounded like the goofy sales guy. He sounded like your doctor, or your attorney, your accountant, your dentist, someone who's professional, who cares about you. You have that certain fiduciary or trusting relationship. Yeah. And he was just, man, he picked up the phone. It was like Midas touch. Yeah. And at the same thing, he got off the phone quickly with disingenuous prospects or situations that were unprofitable for him. And he did it very nicely.
Yeah. Talk about that. Talk about that. You talk about in the Gut Sales book about how you should think of yourself as a doctor or a lawyer or a dentist. Use that analogy again about somebody comes to the dentist with a sore toothache at 2 in the morning.
Let's say we've all had toothaches.
Mm-hmm.
When you have a toothache, I mean one of those painful guys, okay? And I'm sorry to talk about pain here, but let's pretend you had a toothache.
Yeah.
Are you going to shop around for a dentist? Are you going to look for coupons? You're going to get the yellow pages out and look for coupons? Are you going to call up dentists and say, well, I'm shopping for a toothache. You got a toothache. You're crying. It hurts so much. You've got a headache. What are you going to do, Joe?
I'm going to call the first dentist that's open 24 hours a day.
Just go.
And go.
Money is no object blank. Let's even put it a different way. One of your children is sick. Are you going to hesitate for a moment to take that baby to the pediatrician?
No.
No, it's your baby. It's your child. There's a whole thing going on, emotional, everything, right? Mm-hmm. There's no thinking. It's blank check time. Okay? Same thing. You get a letter from an attorney. You get a letter from the IRS, God forbid, or something like that. Something that is urgent or painful or of concern to you immediately, you're gonna take action now. Guts is great. Unorthodox, untraditional techniques of sales and success. It is about going to the bank today. It is about learning to capitalize on people's immediate needs today.
Yeah.
And we're dealing in real estate. Do people have immediate needs?
Oh, yeah.
I remember once my wife, this is many, many years ago, we were renting a little condo in San Diego, and we had horrible neighbors. They were fighting and throwing things and noising. We had a little baby, and they kept waking her up all the time. Okay, and my wife called me up, and she was, upset. She said, they keep waking up the baby. And I said, honey, get out of there with the baby and go find a place. Find another place and go today. That's how I felt. Hey, my family, protect them. My wife went, found another property. We moved out of the place that weekend. That's how mad I was about that situation. When you're mad or emotionally involved, you take immediate action. If we can translate that into real estate, and, we give people a score. At least I give them kind of a 1 through 10 score. 10 means very painful. It's a toothache. It's urgent. And 1 means they could care less. They're really not urgent at all. Okay? If we know we can't get somebody through our skills of questions with redirection, I'll explain that in a minute if we have a moment.
Yeah.
If we can't get them over a 1 to 5, if we can't get them over a 5, Joe, we're not going to make any money. We're wasting our time because, and here's Claude's golden rule. I'm giving away all my secrets today, Joe. People make immediate decisions because of passion, because of need and greed, because of emotions, okay? They will justify them later intellectually, academically. Yeah. But when you have something that's important to you right now and that you get emotionally involved in, you make very quick decisions. And that's the way we can, when we have somebody who wants to get out of a home, what do you think I talk to them about? I talk about, gee, is it costing you money, sir? Is this a property where you're paying principal, interest, taxes, insurance, homeowner fees, and it's costing you all this money? Sir, what do you want to do? And he said, I want to get out of this. My wife's upset. All the money we're spending, it's empty, and we're not making money. If I can help you move that property, sir, in the next 30, 60, 90 days, and we design a business plan and we can work to get this property, what would you like to do next? Mm-hmm. And they say, yeah, let's do this, Claude. Let's go. Let's move it. And that's how I get contracts signed real fast. I get commitment. I get paid up front. And that's how you work in this business real smart.
And you can do that. You can do that over the phone without meeting the sellers in person.
Yeah. You and I are using Skype right now.
Yeah.
I am doing a lot of business over Skype. I use something called iJot, which I know you also use, which is video emails. The world is changing right now, and we have to change with it. The marketing is 180 degrees different than it was just a few years ago. Yeah. So, let's use the technology. Let's not go to properties unless we get upfront commitments. Let's do most of our business on the phone and never go to a meeting. I don't go to lunch ever. Because by the time I waste getting in the car, going to meet somebody for lunch, getting back in the car, driving back home, I could have done a lot more business here in my home office. I get 2 to 3 times more value out of working from the home office with a modern computer and a good cell phone than most people will do in an outside office. I love working from home.
Good thing I didn't ask
you. Using technology.
Good thing I didn't ask you if you wanted to have lunch while I was in San Diego.
You know what? There's always room for exceptions. There's always room for exceptions. That's social, and that's fun. That's a fun meeting.
Yeah.
And I do occasionally meet with clients because I mentor people all over. I'm mentoring people all over the U.S. and 16 other countries now.
Wow.
Okay, we just got a new client from Singapore. I didn't even know where Singapore is.
Wow,
South
really?
of Malaysia, by the way.
Amazing.
One quick thing. The psychology of sales is knowing how to ask the questions, too. We have something we call a redirection, which is a fancy word for reverse psychology. I have a business and law background, but I love studying about psychology, about what makes human beings tick. Why do we do the things we do? Why do we behave the way we do? And can we utilize and understand that behavior and I'm not trying to psychobabble here, but I'm trying to say if we understand common sense, why people react the way they do, and approach that in sales in an organized, systematic way, we can make as much money as we want in this business.
Yeah.
So you see, it's so much more, Joe, than just having a strategy, like a wonderful strategy like lease purchasing. It's understanding why people buy and how to work smart.
Can you give some examples?
You got me excited about this. I'm sorry.
Can you give some examples of questions you ask sellers and maybe some examples of redirection?
What do you mean, Joe?
Well, how do you do that?
See, I just did it to you. I just did it to you. I asked you a question, and you asked me a question. I asked you a question, and could you explain that or whatever I just said? And you just went right away. Oh, the big dummy doesn't understand. Let me ask him again another way. See, people get. It's about learning how to ask questions in such a way that you can control the conversation like a chess game, where you can get more information and you can also get commitment.
That's good.
Okay. Ask me a question. Why is the sky blue or something like that?
How's the weather in San Diego?
Well, that's an interesting question, Joe, and a lot of people ask me that. Why did you particularly bring that up right now? Did I answer your question?
No.
No. And you're going to respond, you're going to say, because my wife and I are planning to visit San Diego in April or something like that, right?
Yeah.
And then you're going to tell me that. Now I'm going to say, oh, that's why he asked it. I got more information. Sometimes the most valuable way to answer a question is with another question, but you have to be very subtle. You have to use something we teach called finesse.
Yeah.
To ask it in such a way so you don't sound... you're not tiring the person out. What do you mean by that? You don't want to sound like a police lineup. You want to use finesse. Good question, Joe. Why did you bring that up?
Yeah.
And so that's redirection. And if you know how to do redirection properly, you stay away from the traditional show and tell selling. They're still teaching this old stuff out there, Joe. It's the old Ozzie and Harriet show and tell stuff. What were you going to say?
The old build rapport and talk about all the pictures on the wall.
And they're still teaching this. There's a lot of, I'm a big fan of Dale Carnegie and Tommy Hopkins and all these fellas out there. I love them. But a lot of the stuff that they're teaching is about getting in front of enough people, knocking on 100 doors a day. And if 100 people say no, knock on another 100. I can't do that. It's too exhausting. I have this little thing called an ego inside of me. And if I get too much rejection, I usually find other things to do, like change my windshield washer fluid or something like that. Nobody wants to go out every day. How do you get up Monday morning and say, boy, I'm going to go out there and knock on doors and 100 people are going to say no? How do you get excited about that? So you better have a system. You better have a control in sales where you're the one who can say no.
Yeah. Well,
to me, I'll go to prospects all day long. Hey, Mr. McCall, I saw you have a property available in the newspaper. It must be gone by now, right, sir? That's a redirection. And you're going to say,
no, it's still here. Why hasn't it sold yet?
Why isn't it sold? Sounds like a beautiful property. Comes with cows and everything out there, right? You got a barbecue pit. Beautiful. Huh? Why isn't it sold yet, Mr. McCall? I'm a little surprised.
Yeah. That's awesome. And one of my favorite questions is, what are you going to do if you don't sell the house? Asking them to come up with the alternatives, and then it's kind of like you talk about driving them from pain to pleasure, and asking the questions that remind them of their pain, but they're answering them for you. They're giving you the answers that you're looking for.
Sometimes you have to paint a picture for them. I might go to a guy who's got an investment property, that he bought, and it's been sitting empty. And I might just say, sir, that you said the property's been empty for 6 months. It's costing you $1,500 a month. Can I mind if I just ask you a quick personal question? My wife would kill me if I spent that much money going out of our bank account. How are you dealing with that? Almost unfair, right, Joe?
Yeah, that's very unfair.
Almost unfair, because I'm putting him in that pain mode. He's going, yep, he's right. My wife can't stand all that money going out, and I better do something quick, because she's about ready to pack up and move back to Toronto. And and we're dealing with them in a very common sense way. We're bringing out the obvious. There's a white elephant in the room, and we're saying, hey, it's right here.
But you're doing it with questions.
I'm doing it with questions,
yeah.
And I'm leading. And, sometimes the best answer, I get people ask me questions sometimes. And one of my favorite redirections, I'm giving away too much, but it's okay. I'll say to people 3 little words, 3 most powerful words in sales, Joe. Do you know what they are?
Why is that? Or
you're close. I don't know.
I don't know.
Someone asked me a question. And say, well, gee, how do you do this lease purchase? I've got this property and this. And I don't know, sir. What do you mean you don't know? You're the guy, the lease purchase guy. How come you don't? Well, I don't know your particular situation, sir. Do you mind if I ask a few questions to see if maybe I can help you? You've gained control in a little move like that.
That's phenomenal.
And we get trapped into this free consulting thing all the time, don't we?
Yeah.
Where they say, hey, Joe, tell me how to do this with my property. And you get caught off guard. You let down your guard. You explain to them. You're doing free consulting. 45 minutes later, the guy says, God bless you, Joe. And if I had money, I'd say, I'd give you my credit card now. Goodbye. And your kids want to go to Taekwondo and gym and stuff, don't they? You want to be able to pay for that stuff. You need to put a value on your time, knowledge, and energy. You are entitled to be compensated for specialized knowledge and for helping people solve their problems just as any other professional would.
Yeah.
And that's the way I approach this business. We can work smarter, we can solve people's problems, and we can do it in a systematic way. I don't know if your audience can see this. I even have on my desk here little mind maps with my rules and with my system and everything like that. I keep it on my desk with my little 3-minute timer here. Because I want to stay focused on using this system, because it makes me a lot of money, because it allows me to do things that other people are not doing. Why? What's the difference, Joe, between a millionaire and a guy just working hard, well-intentioned, knowledgeable, but he's not making any money? The millionaire works smarter. God gives us all 24 hours in a day. How come some people can make all the money they want and some people have to struggle? It's a question of working, having high self-esteem, having a system that's practical, that's honest, and working smart.
Yeah. Guys, do you see why I wanted Claude on this interview here? It's phenomenal, and you've already gotten just a wealth of information from this little interview. And Claude has a book on the guts sales method. And I know some of you may think, man, that's just a little intimidating. I don't know if I could ever ask those kinds of questions or talk like that. But I'm telling you, this doesn't make your job harder. This makes your job easier. And when you just start implementing these real simple little techniques, his book is not, it's told in more of a conversational style, more like telling a story. I thoroughly enjoyed it. It didn't take long to read at all. It spells it out. In fact, I've had to read it 2 or 3 times, and after, there it is.
There it is. This is my story about how Max took this guy who was the worst salesman in the world and turned him into just a great gut salesman, and his life changed dramatically overnight.
Right.
And it's a neat little story with a happy ending.
It is. So, Claude, can you talk a little bit about what you have?
Okay. Let's. I have a package. It's called the Guts Sales Method, and in it is my book, The Mentor Teaches Guts. It also has the manual in there, the How to Sell with Guts, which is this book here. It's another 130-page book. Also has 4 CDs in it, DVDs, where I've done live phone calls, where I have a movie, where I have an audio training. It's $595. For Joe's customers, we're going to do free shipping. We're going to give a free
nice.
Claude 3-minute success timer.
Yeah.
You know, We got to get a band on this, like, and make it like a Fred Flintstone watch. We're going to throw that in. And how about can I do a free 30-minute training session with anyone who buys this package?
That'd be huge.
How about, so after they read it and digest it and they have questions, I can say to them, I don't know. No, I can say we can train, and we can do it over Skype too. So it's a $595 package. And here's the thing. Once again, we all want to make money in this business, and we all have different strategies and things. But without a sales and marketing system, we're doomed to fail. And I'm the guru who gets in trouble at every seminar because I say, guys, strategies is not enough. It's sales and marketing that is going to get you to the bank.
Well, you're absolutely right. This is probably ranks in the top best books that I've ever purchased, business related.
It's really nice of you. Thank you.
Because, and I've recommended this to all my students for over 2 years now, almost 2 years. And I'm glad and honored, Claude, to have you on the phone here and do this little
Pleasure was
interview.
mine. Wow, this was fun, man. Let's do this again.
Yes, definitely.
There's a lot of other things we can talk about in sales and marketing. And, our job, if we, the best thing in the world is somebody calls me back or calls you and says, hey, I used some of your techniques and I did a deal and I made some money. That's what I love to hear, the success of the people out there.
Yeah.
I don't want them just running from seminar to seminar and spending money. I want to hear about them having the life that you and I have, enjoying what they're doing, making a great income, and just enjoying the greatest business in the world.
Definitely. Claude, how can they get a hold of you?
Oh, that's a good point. They can go to claudediamond.com is my webpage, and there's a free newsletter there. Okay. They can go to youtube.com/cdmentor. I have 85 videos on there on all kinds of subjects of sales and marketing. And if they want to call me, 1-800-324-4652. 800-324-4652. I do what you do, Joe. I answer my own phone.
Yeah, I try. That's hard to do, and
it's hard to do, but we try to do it. We try. Yeah. The one thing that you have, and that I believe in also is accountability. You really care about the people you're working with. You're willing to share information, and you're willing to pick up your own phone. And I commend you for that.
Well, I learned it from you.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
Hey, thanks, Claude. I'm going to go ahead and end this recording here.
Okay.
It's good talking to you.
Good talking to you. Thank you, everyone. Bye-bye.